Hello, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us for our fourth and final part of our internship series. Today, we're going to be talking about the ups and downs of internships, the risk and rewards, if you will. And there is nobody better to talk about this than actual interns, people who have been doing it. And we are very lucky today to be able to speak to three interns who are actually Invest Scholarship winners. So they are very near and dear to my heart. And let them explain to everybody here really what they experienced as interns, what some of the positive experiences were, and some of not, we're not going to say negative, but some of the things that maybe we can do better to really improve the internship experience and turn that internship into a possible position. And here today with us are our fabulous interns and Invest Scholarship winners. Hi, Blake.
Hello, how are you doing?
Good, good. I know we got a couple more coming on. There's Ben and Rania. Thank you
Hi,
so much for being here. You guys go ahead and introduce yourselves.
I could start off. So I am Blake Bartos. I'm currently a junior at Florida State University studying finance and risk management insurance there.
Fantastic.
Hello, my name's Ben Graham. I'm a sophomore at Stanford University studying math. I'm from Orlando, Florida.
Hi, my name is Rania Suarez. I am currently at the University of Central Florida studying accounting, and I interned at State Farm, and I currently work at State Farm.
That's exciting. So, Rania, I'm actually going to start with you because of the fact that you are currently working at State Farm because you started an internship there. When you first started that internship, what were some of the maybe the first projects or maybe the first tasks that they gave you that you kind of felt like you were starting to become most engaged in the process and you started to really feel like you were contributing?
Yeah, so when I first started, the first thing my boss had me do was just answering calls, just answering phone calls, doing simple tasks like paying somebody's bill, like taking a payment, helping with like setting up an appointment with the other customer care representatives, basically delegating tasks. And he also, further on, had me do these care calls where I would call a list of our customers and basically say, thank you for being our customer. Is there anything we can review for you? Things like that, so we can have that customer retention.
That's great. Now, were you comfortable at first on the phone?
Definitely not. For me, I was definitely more of a shy person in the beginning. So what my boss had me do was that he just told me, just pick up the phone. What the next ring, you pick it up and you're gonna introduce yourself, say we're from the Aguilar Insurance Agency with State Farm, and see what they want. And I was really scared, but I had a little script he gave me. I just said that and it went way better than I thought it would. So
Yeah. Yeah. The script helps. It definitely helps,
yes,
especially if you're not
yes,
used to doing something like that.
of
Yeah,
course.
that's great. So, Blake, what was yours?
So first coming in, I was assigned to a mentor at One Digital Insurance, which is a brokerage firm kind of across the country. I was working on their employee benefits side, and my mentor was a producer. And he immediately took me in and took me under his wing, basically as a shadow. I got to do everything with him, see everything that he did, whether it be open enrollment meetings or cold calls. It was something different every day, showing me all aspects of the field. Uh, really allowing me to feel engaged during the time and then contribute where I learned knowledge from school and bring that knowledge into the real world workforce, whether it be the sales aspect of it or during an enrollment meeting where we can help out other clients or future clients. Really allowed me to be engaged and feel like I was contributing during my internship.
That's good. Did you feel like that was natural right away, or was that something that required a little practice as well?
Definitely not natural. The sales aspect of it is very, very scary. You're really dealing with putting food on the table for yourself, I feel like, within the sales world. If you don't sell, you're not going to be able to survive in the industry. So it took a while, but learning from the people within One Digital really helped me out. They had a great positive culture and a really good team that was able to back me and help me out in order to drive my love for the insurance industry, which I really didn't know I had.
Which is why we are doing this series about internships, because you just don't know what you don't know, right? So Ben, I
Exactly.
think yours is a little bit different. If I remember correctly. Yeah?
Yes, yes. So my internship experience that I had was a little bit more open-ended, actually, in which it was an entrepreneurship-based internship. And so we were basically the whole goal of the internship was to create these business plans, business proposals that we would pitch to local professionals in Orlando at the end of the program. And so we were tasked with all of these different like socioeconomic issues that we saw in Orlando, and sort of were given the whole internship period to try and come up with a business proposal to sort of help alleviate that problem. And so it was really interesting being able to like interact with a bunch of different professionals in my community. The project I ended up working on was a financial education um, business plan. And that was really awesome to see just all of the different aspects, talking to like insurance brokers, all of these, so we can get just this complete curriculum and seeing the entrepreneurship side of an internship. That was really valuable. And the second year, I came back and I acted sort of as a lead for that program. So getting to see both sides of the program and sort of having more of an open-ended internship was really nice.
Yeah. And that is a different experience, but that's one of the things that's important for us to kind of relay to people who are thinking about having internships or not sure to how to really have one, is that there's all kinds of different ways to have an internship. So just the
Mhm.
three of you talked about, what you've experienced in your end. But one thing that I do know is a common theme and something that we talk about from the Invest program and really, really try to send home is that mentorship is very important. And having someone who is your mentor can basically be the make or break of that internship. Ronnie, can you talk a little bit about your mentor?
Yes, my mentor was, of course, my boss. His name is Sean Aguilar. He's the agent. I'm really thankful for him because, like I said, I was really shy in the beginning. And with the months that preceded, working there as an intern, he had me do a lot more things that he put me in uncomfortable situations so that I could grow as a person. He would make me like set up appointments with certain customers. Since I was the only one who spoke Spanish in the office, I, of course, had to deal with the Spanish customers. So I would do appointments with Spanish customers about their bill, like why did my premium go up? Things like that. And obviously, it's very uncomfortable for me because, I have to find a reason why their premium went up and they're upset. So, you have to calm them down and things like that. And Sean was really good putting me in that uncomfortable situation because it grew my confidence,
And then
definitely.
did he provide feedback as well?
Yes, of course. After the appointment, I would let him know how it went, and he would also be there listening to me during the appointment, and he would basically tell me what to say different, things like that to ease the customer better. So
Yeah, that
definitely a
feedback
lot
is
of good feedback.
important.
Yeah.
What was your experience? I'm sorry,
So,
Ben, go ahead. Or go
oh,
ahead, Blake. Yeah.
so mine was kind of a little bit of a different scenario. My mentor wasn't my direct managing boss that I was underneath. So he got to kind of help me out and give me the harsh truth of what my boss really wanted, which for me is what I need. I can't have something sugar coated because then I just feel like we're beating around the bush and not getting to the point. So he would sit there and really help me out on certain tasks like cold calling,
Hmm.
prospective cold calling. If I wasn't doing something right or struck out 100 times in a row, he was there to push me and keep me going and provide that feedback that is honest and needed, but it's hard to hear in the moment. But that's kind of what I needed to hear because it's the only way I was going to get better. So for me, that's how I was able to grow is by honest feedback.
So Ben, I'm going to ask you the same question, but to your point, Blake, I just kind of want to touch on that honest feedback. So, constructive criticism, if you will. Are you all open to constructive criticism? Because there is a perception, right, that this particular generation doesn't want to hear that, and we have to be very careful about how we approach this. So, is is that you said very specifically, like, don't sugarcoat it, you just tell me what I need to do. So, what is your perspective?
Yeah, I mean, I really I think everyone needs constructive criticism to get better. But that's how I've been wired and grown up. So everyone may be different, but
Yeah.
I feel like your mentor has to know that about you as a person too. And that's why for me, it was important to not have my actual manager as my mentor because, he may not be in office every day if he was out with clients or with prospects. So I couldn't get to see him every day. But when I had my mentor and I could be by his side shadowing, he got to know me and was able to know what I liked and what I didn't like and give me that feedback, knowing it'll help me in the future.
So, Ben, would you say that, like, what is your perspective on that?
I would say like I totally agree. Constructive criticism is everything, especially being open to that in an internship position because you are new to this position, and you're in a new environment, and so learning and being open is definitely everything. My mentor in my internship was the program director, and it was just very invaluable to be able to talk with him, have like almost daily meetings with him and just constantly be bouncing ideas off of him and him giving me advice from everything with like communicating with professionals in the in our community and my second year when I came back more in the leadership position, sort of showing me how to be more of a guiding light to the other interns. And so it was definitely amazing having my program director there and just being in constant communication with him.
Hmm. Hmm. So by having, different, so each one of you kind of had a different mentor, but it was somebody that you were in contact with consistently giving feedback. Was it on a daily basis? Pretty
Yes.
much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Okay. All right. And then by being able to experience that with your mentor, and then I think Ryan, you kind of talked about this a little bit, or Ben, it might have been you, but talking a little bit about the culture with where you're working. So can we talk a little bit about that? So what about where you were interning and the culture that you were experiencing made it a really positive experience for you?
Yeah, so I have really strong work culture where I work. Basically, what my boss did was that he would have these little like themes every week for the day of the week. So every Monday would be our magical Monday. So we basically at 8 when we start, we all get into the middle of the office, go in a little circle, sit down, and we basically talk about how our weekend went, a little positive quote to start the week off. We basically choose a team member to be grateful for, and we go around the room. We basically say why we're grateful for them, why we're thankful, and we go through our numbers for the month, for the week, and where we're standing on the leaderboard with sales and things like that. And it was really good for us and to know how to plan for our week, for a month, things like that. And we also had fun Fridays. Fridays were where on 8 in the morning we'd get into our little circle again and we'd play games all together. And what else? Team lunches too. We would do team lunches all the time, even with our boss. We were always with our boss. It wasn't like kind of like a thing where it's only coworkers. Our boss would be in
Mhm.
there too.
That's so fun. I love that.
Yeah.
Makes me kind of want to go there. So what was your culture like, Ben?
Yeah, so we were in a program with many different interns and we were grouped together. So that instantly made it a lot better of a culture to be like with fellow interns who were going through the same experience and being in those groups. And also in my second year when I was sort of acting more in the leadership capacity, having like team meetings, that was a big thing, which we were constantly, reflecting on how effective we had been and sort of the highlights of the day. And that was super valuable to just be in that space where we could reflect and grow all together and all guided by my mentor, the program manager. And it was a really great work environment.
Yeah, it makes a difference, doesn't it?
Hmm.
Yeah. Blake, what was yours?
So we, I worked out of the Orlando office for One
Hmm.
Digital, and there was one other intern, and they included us in everything they did. Basically, our managers had said, "You guys have a free pass to go into any meeting you want, no matter whose meeting it is or how important it is." Obviously, couldn't go into everything, but we got to go anywhere within the office and see meetings, and then we would go out to lunches with with our team and a bunch of different coworkers, probably 3 times a week at least. And it was really, really great for bonding. And I feel like that's the most important thing in an internship is getting to know your team because coming in as an intern, you feel lesser. There's no question about it. You're scared. You don't want to
Hmm.
mess up, and ultimately, you want the job at the end of it. So you're trying to impress them. But how do you impress them if you don't know them? It's pretty challenging. So when they were bringing us in and making us feel included, like we were part of the team, it really uh, let me know that the culture there was great. And not only within the Orlando office, but the other interns across the country, we would get on a Zoom 3 times, 2 to 3 times a week, usually during the days, and get to meet everyone and have little different sessions every week. Where eventually, when we got to meet up at the headquarters office at the end of our internship, we all knew each other through the screen, and then we all got to meet each other or in real life and do events, team bonding, and it was really, really great to know that the culture is what drives a good company is the people behind it. If you don't have a good culture, the company's not going to be successful. So it's great to see that as an intern.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So did everybody have an additional intern that they were working with, or was anybody working by themselves?
I was working by myself. I was the
Did
only
that feel
intern.
strange being the only person, only intern? Or
Honestly,
because of the way
no.
you were? Okay.
Yeah, because my coworkers were they included me in everything. So I kind of, you kind of forgot that you were an intern because you were so included into everything. So it was normal.
Inclusion is everything. Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. No question about it. So, with that, because it sounded like everybody was doing a little bit of everything with where in the organization of which you were in. So, what was your least favorite thing?
For me, my least favorite thing was definitely the appointments with difficult customers. Uh, it's very uncomfortable. You have to do it, but for me, it was my least favorite thing because a lot of customers don't want to listen. They don't take no for an answer. So it's a learned trait. It's definitely not something you're born with. So that was definitely my least favorite.
So, have you learned from that then not to take things personally?
Yes, definitely. Honestly, that was one thing that I would say that I was really good at, that these customers, like, they wouldn't affect me that way. Like, I wouldn't get, like, very overwhelmed from that. I
Mhm.
would kind of know that, honestly, like, I understand them somewhat. So I just tried to calm them down, to be honest.
Well, it sounds like you had that, empathy piece where you understand where they're coming from and
Yeah,
just
definitely.
expressing their frustration to you. So you learned how to handle it well,
Mm-hmm.
which
Yeah.
is great. And I'm sure a lot of that came from just practice and from your mentor, right? As
Yep.
you were saying earlier. So did either of the two of you have something you just did not love doing?
Yeah, I would definitely say the more tedious work of at the end of the program that I was in, we would have this big event where everyone would give their business pitches. And so in my second year, I was sort of in charge of managing a lot of the organization and planning for that. So doing tedious work like we would have a lunch and having to like fold all the napkins and things like that. A lot of busy work, but still, in my internship, I was still able to get many different sides. And so that um, didn't break the internship for me at all.
Yeah, kind of like the same thing is the stuff that's really not related to actual work, but I mean, just as the intern in the office, you're gonna have to do, such as like the fridge being empty and needed to be restocked. Like I wasn't never really told like, oh, you have to do this, but I figured, as the intern, you just gotta sometimes take responsibility for some of these things like that and get them done. So that was really the least favorite thing, other than knowing that the internship would come to an end eventually, because I actually really enjoyed what we were doing and learning, and of course making a little money on the side too. You can't beat that at all.
Right, right, exactly. So overall, I would say, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but the internship experience for all of you was positive.
Definitely.
That's
So
100%.
that's great. So then what would you say? Let me ask you this. So what would your advice be to an intern coming in who has no experience and this is their first day? And then what would your advice be to the organization who is bringing in an intern?
So my advice to the actual intern would definitely not to give the bare minimum. Uh, an internship is a lot more important than you'd think. Uh, for me, I gave it my all. I did more than what was expected of me, and my boss told me that. He did more than, or I did more than what was expected, and that's what landed me the job. I have all my licenses now. I get to work from home in college, and I work for State Farm in college. So that would definitely be my advice to the intern and to the actual organization. I would definitely say have like a plan before your intern comes in, not do like anything on the fly. Because for me, I I knew that I was going to be answering calls, but in the beginning that was the only thing I was doing. And on the off time that I wasn't answering calls, I just didn't have much to do. So I would definitely come with more of a plan, more of a playbook kind of thing.
Absolutely. Ben, what would your advice be?
Yeah, so I would say that for the intern, it's definitely important to like go in with an open mind, and to, be ready to learn, and be willing to like accept that constructive criticism that we were talking about earlier. Because like an internship at the end of the day is about growing, it's about learning about how you are in the professional environment, and being open to that is just super important, and putting your all in, because you're going to get out of this internship what you put in. And there's a lot of times in which your work might be tedious, or it might not be clearly defined, but being able to take initiative, and go the extra step, and be able to interact with your coworkers, and all of these things that show initiative are super important and will give you more out of that internship, than you could have ever expected. And I would say for the actual company, it's super important to be able to like clearly communicate with your interns so that they can know what to expect from this program. And have that clear communication, I feel like, is super important, so that your interns can be ready to go on day one. Maybe even like having some Zoom calls or meetings beforehand with the interns,
Mm,
just so that they're prepared, and they know what they're getting into on day one and can hit the ground running. I think that that's super important to being successful.
that's great advice. Blake.
Yeah, I would second all of that. As an intern, you have to come in with a completely open mind, willing to learn and absorb everything and put in a little bit more work than you're probably anticipating. You may not like it, but that's what internships are for. You learn what you do like and what you don't like. It's really an 8 week long job interview. And at the end of the day, if you don't like it, it's good for you. You still got something out of it rather than sitting at home not doing anything. So really come in with an open mind and be ready to absorb everything. And don't be afraid to ask questions because you aren't expected to know everything. You can't. It's as simple. School can only teach you so much, I've learned. The other 75% of it comes from real life experience.
Yep.
Mhm.
Sorry, but that's just the truth. I
No,
feel like
that's true. Yeah.
um, you really don't know what you're getting into. So your mentor, manager, boss really does not expect you to know as much as you think they expect you to know, and they welcome questions more than you think, is what I feel like. Now, from the organization standpoint, be prepared, have a plan for your intern, and really don't take on an intern just to say you have an internship program. Because if you don't have the ability to give them work and keep them busy, you probably just took someone out of the industry that probably would have enjoyed the industry, in my opinion. So that's really how I see it from the organization standpoint, is be ready to give back as if you were in their shoes and wanting a position like this too.
That is an excellent point. All of you brought up excellent points, and hopefully, for everybody who's watching, they heard that and made notes. And I appreciate your honesty because that's what we need. But I mean, it's from you guys who have lived it and have done it, and then Rania, you're now working because of your internship and because of your internships for you two, it changed the path, the course as to, what you're going to decide to do in your career. So these are really important decisions that we make, not only as professionals, but for you all as well. So I truly appreciate you all taking the time out today to spend the time to talk about this because it's really important. We want to be able to dispel some myths about internships, but really create a space where, if you're whether you're an agency or whether you're a company and you have not done an internship before, this is a great resource for you to use. The Invest program has an entire guide for you to use, and you can find it on investprogram.org. We have the series that will be available on YouTube and then on our website. So again, thank you all so much. I appreciate you and I wish you all the best in the future. I know where to find you. You're
Mhm.
going to be out there in the industry working hard. I know it.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you so much.
you.